Hello and welcome to the Tech on Toast podcast. My name's Chris Fletcher and this is season 12. Tech on Toast podcast is serving up fresh chats with the sharpest minds in hospitality and tech. If you're looking to level up your ops, streamline your service, or just sprinkle a little tech magic into your business, you've come to the right place. And guess what? Our partners Lightspeed are back this season to look after us. They're the EPOS and payments platform helping over 165,000 businesses. Businesses such as Big Mama, Mildred's, Mallow and Cubit House. They'll help you scale at, you guessed it, the speed of light. See what I did there? With real-time insights, faster transactions and slick integrations with people like OpenTable, Xero, Muse and many more, Lightspeed's unified platform is built to boost your performance and turn your tables quicker than you can say flat white, extra hot. So, if you need fast funding, check out Lightspeed Capital. No hidden fees, no interest charges, just smart support when you need it. If you're curious about all of this, just head over to lightspeed.co.uk/tech-on-toast and book yourself a free demo. You won't regret it. Now, enough of that. Ready for the next episode? Let's go. Welcome to the next episode of Tech on Toast podcast. And today I'm joined by my old mucker, Joe Heather, RGM of Northern Europe. What does RGM mean, Joe? Is it region? It makes you sound like an area manager with 10 sites.
Regional General Manager.
It's slightly bigger than that, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it's slightly bigger than that.
What countries are you looking after these days?
Oh, it's Nordics.
Wow.
DAC. So Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and UK and Ireland.
Wow. And Joe's at Deliverect. I don't know if I've mentioned that. Before we get into anything, let's just kind of pitch what Deliverect is for anyone who's been under a rock who doesn't know about it. Tell us what Deliverect does and is.
I think I've defined this better since.
Can you do it in a line?
I can do it in one line.
Go on.
Order management platform.
Oh, okay.
So let's go with that. An OMP. Maybe we can play with that internally with the marketing team, but yeah, digital orders, you want to manage those, Deliverect's the place for it. If you want to have integrations from channels into you, then into your POS system or operating system, that's what we do at our best.
And it's been a journey, right? I mean, we won't go through the whole background because we met you a while ago, but you yourself, how long have you been at Deliverect now?
3 years.
3 years.
Fourth year now.
So yeah, I think I joined shortly after you.
You came about 6 months.
It was a whirlwind, my visit to Deliverect.
I'm not sure what it was.
Please be kind, Joe.
You turned up in entrepreneurial spirit and then
and left in the same way.
And then left in the same way. And look at you now.
Yeah, no, and it was the right thing to do. But I mean, I've got a big love for the product because obviously I saw the internal wranglings and I've known the chaps that own it for a while. So they're great guys. And you're reporting into, you work closely with Jerome then, do you?
I work very closely with Jerome. Actually, he's one line above now. We've got VPs in. We've got
Are they slowly disappearing into the ether?
They're still closely connected.
He said that with a clenched fist.
There's this essence of like, are they going to remove themselves from the decision making?
Yeah, and if you don't know, Deliverect they're like the Beatles. They have four chaps in charge. Is that right?
Yeah,
four? Yeah.
Zong, Jerome, Yelta, and Jan. They're the four kind of, we call them the big dogs, I suppose. I'm not sure that's the official title, but yeah, they do run the show.
And they've got background, obviously, just for a bit of history in Deliverect. They've got a bit of Zong and I think Jan, was it, were behind or working with or built Lightspeed up?
Yeah,
before it.
They had a POS company that got acquired by Lightspeed.
Right, that's right, yeah.
And so that was the connection there. And then I think Yelta worked on integrations as a consultant with Lightspeed, and Jerome was the GM for the.
He's the muscle. That's why.
Absolutely muscle.
Jerome is the muscle, and it's been a year since we last spoke to you, and you were just showing me you've got a dog, which is a really good idea with someone. How many kids have you got, Joe?
I have 5 kids.
5 kids, and he goes and gets a puppy. I mean, imagine you like the puppy though.
The puppy's now my favourite child. Black Labrador, 7 months old, called Mars.
Very nice. Jan will like that because he's got a bit of an obsession with the moon and space, hasn't he?
Yeah, does that sound like I've named it after a Deliverect?
That's really sad. You've named it after your boss.
No, it was God of War I went for.
Ah, very good. Yeah.
So,
God, feels like your house is busy, mate. But no, and obviously you've moved up the ranks since over the last 3-4 years in Deliverect, and now you're kind of running around Europe doing your thing. And the product itself, how much has that changed over the last... I mean, I know tech constantly evolves and iterates, but how much... Have you shifted your focus a lot from where you were originally, do you think?
Yeah, massively. We started off as pure integration platform.
Yeah.
So plugging in channels, pushing them through to POS systems. And I suppose, fortunately, that gave us this incredible layer to work off. I don't know if it was planned or if it was.
I don't think these things are not. Well, maybe it was. Maybe it was.
It was like one of those stroke of geniuses back in 2018 to go and build this layer. And because once you own that layer, you have then all the power of all these channels and the connection to the POS systems. You can start to leverage that for other things. So. A few years back, we acquired Chat Food, which I think you're aware of. So online ordering management, and that's moving very nicely now. But in the last year, we've had a kiosk acquisition. So we acquired a company called Tabesto. It's a fairly large kiosk provider, originated from France. I think working across 4 or 5 countries already in Europe. But we're going to internationalise that, which is quite nice. Lots of things to work out still, but we're very close to a UK activation. We released a number of different modules as well, one called Pulse, which is like analytics on all the marketplaces. We crawl the marketplaces and store all relevant information for operational and marketing use. And so, it really helps you drive initiatives on those delivery channels. So
it's data-driven decision-making for the operators, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got some operational kind of warehouse as well. So we can, we can push channels back online when they go offline. So if you've got like an offline time of 94%, we can get that closer to 99 and somewhere in those regions.
Which is money, right? Time is money. Well, offline is money.
It's an ROI. So it's a great one to go and propose out into the marketplace.
And can we dig a bit deeper on the kiosk? So what drove that decision to go into to do that?
I feel like it was a natural next step.
Yeah.
And there will be people listening to this thinking, okay, well, you were the integration platform. And you've got kiosk providers who are integrated. You've got online ordering providers who are integrated. And our whole ethic is, look, you can have best in class or the chosen solution that you want, or there's going to be something provided by Deliverect.
Yeah.
And when we look at comparable competitors in the market space globally, so let's say you take like an Olo.
Yeah.
Their real fame and where they were exceptional at was online ordering. They do kiosk as well. They do rails and integration. And so it was very much a natural next step for us. And when we look at others in our same sphere, it's a pretty aligned place.
Look, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, I think you can stay within your little bubble for as long as you want, but everybody wants growth, and you're an invested company, and people want, and I think that the operator journey is changing to match what Deliverect's doing, right? So the need or the thirst for moving crowds through quickly, moving queues through quickly, order injection in the restaurants that they become quicker. I just think that's where the industry's moving anyway, and you can't. I don't know. I think it's very difficult for a company like yours to sit along the sidelines and watch.
Partnerships in this company are so difficult to manage.
Yeah,
and it really is true. Most partnerships in, especially in hospitality tech, they're all competing at some elements.
I mean, we work with 130 providers, right? And it's getting to the point where you're looking at there's lots of crossover. We do these tech audits for operators we're working with, and some big ones, and we're working with them. And when you're recommending it comes down to nuances. And I would say we were talking to a very large wet lead chain the other day, without dropping their name, and they're with a provider that they're not happy with in terms of their product. They would love more feature-rich product. They'd love integrations to be better, all this kind of stuff. But the relationship is so solid that they can get what they want when they click their fingers. Yeah. This is a really hospitality-ism that actually they'd rather stay there and have that than move to a provider that might have a better functionality or a better platform, which you can say is counterproductive, but they really value these relationships above it. And I suppose there's a tipping point in scale where that can't happen anymore. But I don't know what you think.
This is one of those. It's a painful conversation, but let's bridge it. The operators have got all the power.
Yeah.
And if they're already in with a tech supplier who could make a slight move in their product roadmap, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's sizable. If it makes up 5-10% of revenues.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Of course you are. We can think of loads of brands who have landed on a POS provider and just grown with it.
Yeah.
That organic growth has meant other things from the tech stack have been locked in. And it's just how far do you go before it starts to take a detrimental effect on feature specialism?
And I feel we're at a point, and this is from our incoming data we get and who we speak to, there seems to be a very common choice that people want to change at the moment, or are looking at that next step. I don't know if it's AI that's kind of pushed people into this. They're all looking at automate, and obviously all the costs that are out, the external costs. But I think people are looking at changes now, and they're change ready, maybe is the word. I don't know, compared to where they were. I mean, I suppose there's been so many headwinds that it's been difficult to do anything. But I do believe that they're in a space when you're looking like you don't believe me. Or you're thinking, yeah, they're not, Chris.
So there's a tech CEO out there. He's Irish. He works for an online ordering company.
Okay, that's narrowing it down.
Based up in Edinburgh.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I know that. Yeah.
Recently acquired.
Yes.
I spent some time with this guy.
Why did you say
that? I won't say his name, but I'll let everyone keep guessing. Okay. And I remember him. I was with him in Scotland, and he drew out this axis. It was lovely, actually. On the left-hand side was products, tech stack, and then under it you had feature specialism.
Yeah.
And then on the bottom was scale, so scalability. And that could be scale in terms of revenues, it could be scale in terms of regional kind of growth, it could be national growth, it could be international growth. And then he kind of, in there, started plotting the tech providers. So you might have like the holistic all-in-one providers.
Yeah.
And he'd put them in a certain place in this graph, and then you'd have like the best-in-class tech solutions. And then those brands that were associated with those and where they kind of sat within the scale. And it really did resonate. Then he drew another line of this kind of fluctuation, and he was like, "Look, this is the economic situation."
Yeah.
And when the economic situation is up and consumer spend is up, you're buying best in class.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to get absolutely everything.
Yeah, you maximise it.
Oh, for sure. And then as soon as the economic situation downturns, consumer spend is down, you have to look internally at your operational expenditures. You end up then going more holistic, one throat to choke, one support line, modular costing.
It's a lovely turn of phrase there, one throat to choke. No, it's true. I was having a conversation with, again, a large restaurant chain, and they went to market to look for analytics, data analytics, BI, and they... we did a lot of work for them, got all the quotes in, all this kind of stuff, and did some legwork. And then at the end, they were just like, you know what? We're just going to stay with our current guys because they've just dropped down to meet what we're going to do, and they're going to make the change that they wouldn't make before. And I suppose that's kind of what you're talking about. They're in this place where they're like, we can go to market, ruffle some feathers, have a look what's out there, maybe find something that's better. But for the emotional turmoil of undoing something, I mean, not necessarily a data lake, but the emotional turmoil of changing a POS, for instance, within a company is it worth it? How much benefit you're going to get on the other side. So that's where the calculation seems to sit at the moment. How can we do it without open heart surgery?
Yeah. POS, removing POS is a nightmare, full stop.
It really is.
So I can't imagine what it's like selling POS in the market space.
And how do the markets differ when you're out? Because I know we'll talk about retail in a minute, but you're out obviously in different regions now doing your new job. Yeah. How are they differing to what you were seeing in the UK, or is the market quite similar? I know the restaurants are different. It's more mom and pop style.
I'll pick some specific examples actually. Like the German market, it was dominated by an all-in-one platform called it's called Sides, simply Delivery,
right?
And you've just had this mass exodus. Like everyone's just leaving it. They overextended themselves. They're doing POS, kiosk, app, web, back of house.
Wow.
HR management, driver management, all these whole host of different things. The company needed to start making money, so they of course made some cuts, and those cuts were too deep, and it's ultimately affected their development and support and everything around it. And then now you're seeing lots of these different German brands going back out there shopping for best-in-class solutions, so linking a POS with an online ordering, with a kiosk, with an app.
And I just presume that's common, but it's probably not, right? I suppose depending on the region or the country you're in, that I just presume that it was like the UK, that people would go shop about like that, but maybe it's not.
First of all, we can be really proud of UK tech and where it's at today. So certainly from what I've seen in kind of continental Europe, I think it's fair to say a few years back, there's significant brands still unintegrated for like order management, like typing in orders into tills, and you're thinking, oh my word, I haven't come across this in the UK market for 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
And you have to ask the question, sorry, can you repeat that? And we could be talking about significant brands, ones that we know of.
Yeah.
They're famous. And self-delivery is still big out there. So you still have again, global brands with delivery fleets in-house. Again, something you don't see in many other regions. So it does vary. It really varies.
And the delivery scene itself that you guys are seeing, because obviously you're experiencing it from both sides of the coin, because you sit with a lot of larger operators, you're talking to them about their issues and the problems they're trying to solve by using you guys, but then you're also sitting on the flip side, on the tech side, looking at the impact that the consumer is having on the industry. Where do you see kind of like the roadmap of delivery right now? Because when we talked when we first joined Deliverect, we were looking at drone delivery and all this crazy stuff that was going on, but I think the pandemic obviously changed a lot, and then we came out and saw a bit of a drop off. But am I right in thinking it's stronger than it ever was, or it's becoming strong, or it's finding a different path?
You see these self-doubters, or these people who want to doubt the market because they don't like it, because it's an ugly space, logistics and delivery fees.
It's not experiential.
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult to control it. I think it's going from strength to strength. Look at the recent news.
Yeah,
DoorDash acquisition for
crazy.
Deliveroo. Bringing this US powerhouse into the UK sphere. You got ProSus who've just, gone in for acquisition on Just Eat.
Yeah.
And ProSus are, this massive South African business who have stake in iFood, which is the market leader in Brazil. They've got Delivery Hero stake. They've got Swiggy stake, which is the largest in India. Meituan in China. I think they own part of Tencent as well, which is a behemoth business. So you've now got Uber Eats, Just Eat with ProSus, and potentially Deliveroo with DoorDash. That's a lot of finance backing, and that's a lot of weight pushed into this.
A lot of money being bet on.
Yeah, by the way, which is fantastic for the operators.
Yeah.
Because ultimately then there's going to be an out-and-out war, and it really will be a war.
Yeah.
And that's war of market share grab, and market share grab is vouchers to consumers, which is then great for the operators because then spend goes back up. It's exclusivity schemes that are pushed into place, to try and come up with some kind of USP. I liken
it to payments a little bit, that payments is going through at the moment. In the UK, I don't know if it's global, but in the UK, the way the payments has suddenly become, not a race to the bottom is a really unfair thing to say, but that there's obviously the integrated payments, Lightspeed, Toast, Adyen, and then you've got, the Dojos of the world doing their thing. And it feels like everyone's kind of, they're trying to win their part of the market, and there's definitely going to be I think the customer is benefiting at the moment. Yeah. How long that goes on for, I don't know, but is it the same is going to happen with the aggregators?
I mean, look at the results you can get your hands on. Let's say like Q1 for Just Eat and Deliveroo. Deliveroo, I think it was 7% year-on-year order growth in Q1, and which is on top of a matured base. It's just phenomenal. And then Just Eat GMV was, I think it was up 5%, I feel like saying. So again, on top of a huge base of order volume. They're in a healthy space, and despite people, profitability, you keep seeing adjusted EBITDA, so knock out a few operational expenditures and experiment.
Sounds like my accounts.
But I think they're getting there. Because I remember my old boss at Just Eat saying, wait until the profit levers come. And those profit levers sit in the basket. Yeah. That is applying the service fee, the delivery charge back to the consumer. And that's where we're then going to start generating and making money. That's certainly when I was there. And you see that now. Me as a consumer who orders a lot from the apps. Yeah. You're hit with £2, £3, £4 delivery charges. You kind of just let it be. You're shopping for convenience and speed.
Convenience is the word I wanted to go into, actually. And convenience is super interesting because, and it's been said a million times, but the market is changing. Like the older market, whatever you want to call it. We used to call it the purple pound. We used to call it in college years, like the older guys who were college years mainstay of customers outside of London. And the big difference now is that my kid's watching my 18-year-old, the way he behaves around his handset. Yeah. His phone is everything, like as in food, banking, everything. And which sounds, I know, obviously, of course, but that will be the whole generation. So all of that generation, the ones below them, will be using it that way, and it's only going to shift it further. And you only have to walk into a restaurant that on a midweek night, unfortunately, and look, and people are kind of, and they look at the back door. There's more going out the back door than there is the front door. So
I've got a real thing around psyche on this. So you think about the addiction of social media, the constant scrolling. You're looking for something. and people always trying to contest against, the delivery platforms and their high commission rates, and can we drive volume directly and fight against the tide? And I think, go back to human psyche. People want to shop on impulse. Again, my own opinion. People, and the majority of people, want to shop on impulse. It's why shopping malls and high streets have been successful. Lots of different options available. So you hit your phone, you pick up a marketplace, you scroll through the carousels. You scroll through that carousel on discounts or a certain category you like, and you find that option, and there's that enticing image. And I think that's more powerful than the pricing point. And then when you link that with then quick delivery, so when you're talking like 10, 15, 20 minutes, which is super quick, consumer expectations are there. People don't want things an hour.
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe I don't want to speak out. I'm not sure how much pricing comes into it once you're on the marketplace. Like, genuinely, I believe that people, like you say, accept the charge. They accept that there's going to be a delivery. They accept that they understand now the food's robust. It's hot. It's been 99% of the time been delivered in a great way. That actually, the early days of delivery when people were getting, it was just logistics was still finding its feet. I think people questioned those prices, and they were obviously looking internally, looking at internal costs, thinking, I can't afford to do this and that. But that's over in my mind anyway. I think when I'm on those marketplaces myself, and I'm not rich by any means, I'm shopping with, I'm hungry. I'm shopping with my eyes. I'm not doing it with my...
You're hungry, you want convenience, you want speed. And suddenly saying £2, £3, £4... you waver it off because it's small. Many transactions, but small. And I think it just gets hidden up in that small basket spend. I think it's incredibly clever.
Yeah, it's really smart. And again, like you said before, whether it was meant to be like that, who will ever know? But it is super smart. And the action around the basket or the checkout or that final scroll when you're adding sides or whatever, I mean, they must be killing it there, because I'm a victim of plus there.
Of course, you're like, hey, can I get it there quickest? And then off you go.
And the other thing is, I think because of the advent of QR at table ordering as well, people are doing it, they're bloody sitting in the restaurant doing it now on their phone, let alone, so it's almost like, why are you bothering sitting there? As in, if you're going to do it, I don't know, I find it a bit odd to sit there and order on your phone within the restaurant.
Or is it that thing of, how much do you really want? Let me stereotype here.
Joe's going to get in trouble.
I don't know. Let's go casual dining.
Yes.
Someone who, I can't remember what the organisation's called, who sends you least employees. You'll probably know.
Oh, what, one of the the agencies?
Yeah.
Well, there's a number. There's Stint.
Stint. That's it. You can always tell a Stint employee, hello, what do you want? And you think,
luckily, Stint are one of my partners.
You can blank that one out.
That's fine. No, keep it.
You'll be sat in. I'm not going to name any names actually, in case they're customers. And a Stint worker comes up. What do you want? And they take an order. Actually, they might take more time than you want to turn
because
up.
If you're out with your kids, right, and you have a few, it's a very different experience to being out on your own with your missus, or just you dining out on business, right?
Pizza Express, QR code.
Yeah.
It's all interlinked into their POS system. I place that order. It's been done straight away. It's in the kitchen. That food's coming when it's ready.
Yeah.
Like, that for me is a perfect experience. It's like, and that's me personally.
Yeah, no, but I'm in the same boat, and I think a lot of people are. And even when I'm on business and I'm on my own, I don't want to hang around too long in the restaurant. I just want to kind of get it and go, or I'm going to do it, eat in my room type thing.
And do I need that conversation?
Yeah.
Like, in realism, I know this whole thing is this hospitality dying. If you're going to go to a full service restaurant and you're going to spend a lot of money and you want someone to come up and give you a wine recommendation and talk you through some of the menu, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm totally on board for that, and that's what you're paying into. I think when it's casual dining or quick service, let it be almost kind of humanless, and that's from my side.
God, Joe's bringing the joy. No, but it's true. No, and I don't disagree, because I think the problem with that mid-market is that it's getting squeezed all the time. When there's any, like we talked about the curly line for the economy, whenever there's problems in the economy, that middle market gets absolutely nailed. Because if you're not great, or if you're not QSR, what are you? You're just floating in the middle, and it becomes it's very difficult to justify the spend, which is and justify the fact that the person who doesn't really want to be there is serving you potentially that kind of world. So yeah, it is very tricky.
And which brands do it well?
Yeah, and you look at the Oaxacas and the Pizza Pilgrims and those guys who've got that, but they're very much more a brand, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to they're very much more clever at the way they kind of brand themselves and market themselves as well as being good food.
Well, you sit in there and you can see the wood oven just piling away, and you can see the pizzas on preparation. There's a bit of ambience in the restaurant. It's a nice thing. I'm definitely one of these consumers. Like I'll be sat in a Pizza Express, and I'll go there as often as I'll order online as well. But I'll do both.
Yeah,
and I think that's what it's crucial how you cater for both and do it incredibly well.
And that's the shift, right? And I think I wanted to get to retail because these behaviours that we're now seeing in delivery in restaurants and off premise, on premise, have come from retail, or our behaviour around Amazon. Obviously, when it really took off, and everyone kind of, no one even thinks about, no one thinks about Amazon anymore. It's just part of your routine, right?
Yeah.
It's not even a shop or any kind of retail shopping like that. We were joking last night because my missus was trying to order a top on a what's it called, Zara or something. Oh my god, it was just, my son was saying, Mum, you've got to sort this out. It's like, it's been a while, you need to be able to shop online, kind of thing. We were just joking about it last night, but I actually think it's that influence now is fully in, and you guys are now really embracing retail, aren't you, in Deliverect, was in quite a big way.
You think the world of on-demand delivery was in hospitality very quickly.
Yeah.
It happened immediately. It was, phone calls, you place an order and then a delivery comes.
Well, it's the takeaway, right?
Yeah, the takeaway.
What we used back in the day.
I think we see 7 in 10 consumers now are on the applications and placing orders, and they arrive on demand. And then the retail sphere, it's only 3 out of 10 consumers. But they're the same consumers. They just haven't been educated across yet. I had an example last week. Despite how much I know about this industry, both on the hospitality and retail sphere, I was trying to order my kids some Easter eggs. So 3 of my children are with an ex-wife. And I was like, I've totally forgotten to order them Easter eggs. I haven't sent them anything. And I had a day. And I could not find any. Amazon, Moonpig and all those type of things. I couldn't get a delivery slot. And I just thought, how am I going to do this? And the answer was obvious. I just went on to Deliveroo. Went to one of the local supermarkets, placed an order for 3 Easter eggs, and they arrived in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's mental.
But again, despite being in the industry and knowing it so much, my psyche still wasn't there to go and place those orders. I could have placed for a card or a little small present or a gift, and you forget.
I think that because I was in the room, because every time I stay here I use Uber, and I was in the room the other night and I was ordering, and I just wanted a drink, and because of where I stayed, there's no room service or anything. You can shop to put in your flat, but you don't. There's no way you'd have to go out and do it. So I just went on Uber, and I was just scrolling. I went, oh yeah, I did like a mini food shop into my flat in London, which I don't live at. That's the whole thing, right? I don't live there. I don't have any food or anything. I have no. But by 8 o'clock, I was stocked like I lived there, and it's a very different way of living.
Yeah, and it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, again, consumer expectations in that hospitality world. Right, I'm going to get things in 15, 20 minutes. But yeah, you're going, I'm going to order a shop for 2-3 days' time and find a slot. And of course, consumers want things now, and they're willing to pay that premium for it. If I want milk, egg, bread and cheese and, I don't know, some bacon, and I want to do breakfast, I don't actually want to order something, but I want to make something at home, you can just order it straight in. And that market size is huge. We're talking way over 2x in terms of UK hospitality just for convenience and grocery.
Yeah, because they're the corner stores, right? That we would walk to and get the bits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now they're petrol stations.
Well, now they're mini fulfillment centres. And you put them onto these behemoth marketplaces that have 40 million active consumers with intent to purchase.
Yeah.
So you've got that already. You've got the consumer there, and then they own all the logistics, and not just the logistics, the premium logistics, because the premium logistics is the quickest, and they are the quickest. I had something the other day that I ordered, and it came in 10 minutes. I think it might have even been like a co-op order. I was just like, what a service this is. And
again, when you're spending, because if you think about when you move into retail a little bit, you're probably going to up your spend again, right? Because it depends. I bought a toothbrush, I think, or toothpaste. When I stayed, I forgot my toothbrush. Anyway, so I was buying stuff like that, and again, the spend, the basket or the charge, is the charge the same? Is it a similar charge to what you pay? Yeah.
It depends on the channel. Some channels will do a min and max, and some will then base it on mileage. So it's difficult to answer which is which.
But if it's the same location rather than a KFC, and I'm getting my co-op.
Exactly.
Yeah. Same.
And of course, it just makes sense. And consumers are really tagging onto it, and it's moving fast, and that space is doubling quickly.
And who are you working? So, what kind of customers are you working with in that space? Where do you guys fit in?
So far, like our ideal customer profile, I hate that ICP, that piece, but typically
because you're not in marketing, Joe.
Of course,
or product.
I remember the first time it said to me, I didn't actually know what it meant until about 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
I just used to shake my head. ICP,
mate. There's a lot of that going on in a lot of boardrooms. Not just about ICP.
It's the acronyms. You always shake
API.
your head.
I mean, I remember an API first. When very first bit of content Tech on Toast did was a glossary. Yeah. So we did what does API mean? I had a CFO directly messaged me on LinkedIn, never met him before, saying, thank God I now know that. I listen to our head of IT talking about that every week. Just nodding, oh yeah, it's very important.
I do learn the acronyms.
Yes.
But I then forget them very quickly. And I'll get APK mixed up with SDK, and it'll be like, what do you mean SDK?
I thought it was a tape. That's an old tape.
No, exactly. I forgot where we got.
No, we talked about the types of customers you were working with in terms of retail.
Yeah, look, we've been fairly fortunate already to pick up some of the national players, which has been nice. I think I can name like One Stop. We've got almost 1,000 locations for those guys, which is part of Tesco Group. Majestic Wines we rolled out with recently. Cool. Really nice brand. We've done some stuff with Spa, AF Blakemore, which is one of the big RDC platform. Here we go, acronyms.
Yeah, you're doing it
Regional
again,
distribution centres.
Thank you, Jack. It's because you've got RGM in your job title. You feel like you should trot them out.
Yeah, and we have a number of others, and we've got lots of other global players in place as well. And there's lots more to come because it's a big space, and they're just moving into that on-demand delivery, and consumers want it, and it's kind of new incremental revenue for the retail space, and so there's eyes and ears looking at it as...
And the product operates the same way, a stupid question probably, but operates the same way for a one-stop than it would for a restaurant? In terms of, you've got your menu management, you've got your...
We built a whole new infrastructure for it.
Okay.
So, it deals with like catalogues, inventory, stock.
Obviously SKUs for all the different... I'm doing it now.
Oh, yeah, perfectly. SKUs, GTINs, UPCs.
No one's listening now, they've all switched off.
They're gone.
No, but so you've had to reconfigure then to kind of meet that need that they have.
Yeah, there's a larger capacity for products. You've got like 3 to 15 to 20,000 SKUs in place. Ugh. So it's heavy. They want it all automated. So
of course they do.
You're not going to have like a menu manager that you're going to scroll around a category and it's going to be flat file CSV into ours and then we're going to process it from there.
Wow.
But no, and look, and we've created a new device called Quest. It's a singular picking device. So on there you'll have Deliveroo, Uber Eats, Just Eat for the UK market. Obviously it's different in other markets, and we just emulate the same kind of feature parity with that. And it's a nice user case. And you think if you fast forward 5 years for Deliverect, God knows what will happen in 5 years at Deliverect. Yeah. But do you think that the retail piece, as you said before, you were saying, could be twice the size of what hospitality would be? How quickly do you think you'll get there? I look around the room and I think, how many of these things could be delivered by a courier? Yeah,
nearly all of them. I have most of this kit at home, and I bought it all through.
Yeah, and if someone wants something at any time frame, it could be accessed. It's all going to be on-demand delivery, and we would see that as a place we want to play. So anything that can go into a car, a van, a bike, a moped, we're going to be playing in that space. And again, going back to my starting piece, order management platform. Yeah. If it's an order, managed, we want to be that platform to ultimately control that.
I think it's a really unique way of looking at what you guys do, because order injection was always the point of reference when we first talked about Deliverect and where the order's going and where it's going to end up to. And I think that OMP, did you call it OMP?
Oh yeah, order management platform.
No, but it's a great way to kind of encapsulate what it's going to do, right, or what it is doing for people.
Yeah, and you think it's our best product. So our core product in hospitality, it's taking that and moving it into a larger and bigger vertical. Yeah. So it's a great place to be, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel with a new product that you don't know if the adoption's going to be there or not. You're taking something that's tried and tested with global brands, all over the world, and then dumping it into this brand new vertical. It's an exciting space to be.
I'm sure the product team appreciate the dumping.
Definitely not dumped. It's taken
relocated.
It's probably taken 2-3 years to properly form this. It wasn't done in a few sprints. We've spent a lot of time building it behind the scenes, putting a large team into place, and now the execution is starting to happen, which is really pleasing.
And on the future, because I'm trying to look, where are we? Nearly there. What are we looking at? Because products coming out a lot. Where did you get to on the rider side of things? Did you do? Because I remember when I was there, we were looking at. We were building. I can't remember what it's called now.
Dispatch.
Yeah, was it Dispatch? Did that happen?
Dispatch happened, and honestly, it's a great product.
I mean, it looked great then. It was Brian, I think his name.
Brian is still.
Is that right? Yeah.
Brian's just had a baby, by the way.
Oh, congrats, Brian! Have you ever listened to this?
Not a chance. He's never listened to anything I've ever done. In fact, he never responds to any of my emails.
Well, we've got no hope. But but that was super. What you guys were doing there was fascinating, and it's out live working happening.
Yeah, like if you order from Burger King today on their application, we're like powering that, which is quite nice. One stop, we power for them. We've got it in lots of different brands into continental Europe. It's working nicely. So let me talk about this. If you've got a first party ordering platform, we will then connect that to a third party logistics.
Right.
So it gives you the chance to own your own customer, be able to engage with them with loyalty platforms. And am I saying this is like, oh, fantastic, now I can move all my orders from one platform into my own direct? It doesn't work like that. You're going to spend a huge amount of money acquiring that customer, and then you're going to have to keep doing spend on your loyalty programs to maintain that customer in place and emulate a great experience. And are you realistically going to make more money from that than getting an order from a marketplace? That question is still out there to be answered.
100%.
And my advice would definitely be invest in both. Invest your marketing strategies on the platforms, because they're ultimately going to derive you the largest result, and then invest in your own direct to consumer on the basis of you still want a proportion of your customers coming actively to you, so you can at least own that. You can own their email, their mobile number, their ordering patterns, the frequency, the spend, and all those other parts. But do both together. Like, there's brands out there who are like, oh, I can redirect all these customers from the marketplaces and get them direct. Name me anyone who's done that. Like, take Mac Delivery, for example. Probably the most powerful engine out there in the world.
I mean, there are nothing but drivers in my local McDonald's. Not that I frequent it a lot, but I have to go a few times to the kids.
They're turning up in Uber jackets, Just Eat jackets, Deliveroo jackets, and the majority of orders are coming from those platforms.
Uber, 100%. And you obviously the kiosk is here. We talked about that briefly. But is there anything out? There are any spin-offs from there? Then, so once you've had the kiosk market cornered, let's call that a year. Is there any spin-offs from there in the future? Are there any other products coming, or are you going to consolidate where you're at?
Look, definitely consolidation. I always see it as like this kind of quadrant where you've got restaurant core, you've got retail core, which are two similar products.
Yeah.
Aggregating channels into operating systems, and what we do there, unified tablet, unified picking device. I think they're two very strong pillars for us. And then dispatch and direct. Direct for us is online ordering and kiosk combined. So it's like our e-commerce offering. And then dispatch then allows you to push that direct channel to third-party logistics. Those four things, and if we focus on them really well, they're going to be pretty powerful. And then there's things around the edges. We've got like some cameras that do dispute-based.
Oh, for the refunds. Yeah.
And some of that stuff is really cool, but it all still features around the orders and the order management.
Yeah, and I think that's not safe place, but it's the right place to play, right? Because everything is about that. Yeah. Everything's about getting that right, optimizing it, efficiencies, everything around it, and the spend and the cost of doing that properly is, if not managed, is bloody expensive.
Yeah, and it makes sense for them to be on the peripherals. And like Pulse as an example, like analytics product, they're on the peripherals.
You need a little map, Joe. I'm visualizing it already. You must have it. We've
got it, and I can send it to you if you want to chuck it up.
I will. I'll put it out with the when we send it out. Oh, you want me to put it on an image on the video?
You can see the ecosystem.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to image pop up now.
But retail, restaurant, dispatch and direct, which is kiosk and online ordering. And I think that's a really strong place for us to play.
Very cool. Look, I love it. And I always half an hour is never enough time with you, because you could chat all day. I think you're probably one of my most favourite people to talk to. Not many people know their subject as well as you.
Oh, appreciate that.
No, I really mean that. I think, and everybody says it about you as well behind your back, but in a nice way. But I think you really know your the lane you drive in. There you go. So you really know your stuff. So, and if anyone wants to reach out who are listening to you, actually any retail consumers or people who are retail outlets are listening, how do they get hold of you, Joe?
LinkedIn, I'm an obsessed LinkedIn.
There's different ways you can say I'm a LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn a lot. Yeah.
Where my wife will be on Instagram and Facebook, I will be on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? I'm not sure which one's sadder. I'm not sure if I'm sadder or my missus.
You're the same, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I live on it. Yeah.
And I think it's a fantastic platform.
It's really, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's before, when I was in operations, I had what I call a proper job. I never went on it. I only ever went on it when I needed a new job. When I had enough and I was looking for a new job, I go on LinkedIn. But now I'm on it. I mean, it's just embarrassing. I'd hate to look at my usage.
It reminds me of golf. Like, until you get into it.
I'm shit at that as well.
So am I.
How could you? You're a unit. You should be. You must have a decent drive on you.
Well, I've always had this thing. I remember my old man saying, "Never trust anyone who's good at golf, because if they're good at golf, they're doing it all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Not working.
Yeah, any salespeople are good at golf.
Never hire someone with under 10 handicap. It's a really, really bad point.
It's a big watch out. Yeah.
But yeah, LinkedIn's like golf. When you get into it, you get really into it, and then suddenly you're obsessed. But
God, I've got enough obsessive things in my life. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Heather. Lovely to see you. No more dogs in the offing now. Are you done? That wasn't a no.
That's down to my wife. She's, every time we get things settled and life's going a bit easier, she wants to chuck another
another bomb.
Come on, let's move house. Yeah.
You just done that recently, didn't you?
I moved
last
house.
year.
Yeah, just overlooking some fields out in Cambridgeshire.
Well, that's where you got the dog now. That makes sense.
Yeah, so go out there and walk him in the mornings, evenings.
All right. Well, good luck with Mars. How old is he?
He's 7 months now.
Okay. Yeah, Kerry literally said to me the other day we're going to get another puppy because our old staff, she's getting 15 now, I love her. So it's time for her to ruin her life and bring some young thing that's going to jump on her head every day.
Genuinely, best thing you could ever do.
I think it'll extend the old dog's life. No, genuinely, I think I said that. If we bring someone, it's like having you find another, even though you don't have the energy, you find it from someone. I think it's the same for the dog. If a puppy comes along, she'll probably think, oh God, I better make an effort.
Well, get you into the fresh air.
Yeah.
You're walking twice a day. I think it helps your immune system.
Since we got Bailey, when Tegan was 3, so we've had, as I said, 14 years now, and she is, every day, twice a day, we're out with her up the mountain, wherever we are, and in the winter, obviously, you don't want to go, but it's just, by the time you get back, everyone's happy. It's weird. It just sorts your head out.
Oh, of course it does. It seems like it's hard.
There you go. The moral of this podcast is get a dog.
Get a dog.
Get a dog, and then buy Deliverect. Thanks very much, Joe. See you soon, mate.
Cheers, Chris. Congrats as well on your movements.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.